Hello and welcome to the Mailbox Rogues Gallery. My name's Sean.
And my name's Burch.
We welcome you to another episode. We welcome you to our warm, loving bosom.
The warmest, fuzziest of bosoms.
Oh, what a wonderful mental image for our listeners. Do you want to do a bit of ASMR as well while you're at it?
Yeah, why not? Bosom.
Well, I found that very comforting, and actually I feel like I go to sleep right now. Just before we get onto our topic, I almost didn't think you were going to make it back in time for the recording of the episode. You're still a little bit out of breath, I can hear. But I sent you off on a mission, didn't I, before we started?
Yes, that's true. For our listeners, Sean sent me to apologise, kind of.
Not kind of. Nothing kind of about it. I sent you to apologise to your binman.
Yeah. For those who maybe aren't completely up to speed with the whole saga.
And a saga is what it is.
It is most definitely a saga. I've had a few run-ins with my binman. It started off when I accidentally impaled his father with a bin, destroying his bin lorry and his livelihood. I then set fire to his house. By accident, we established in a previous episode.
Yeah, and there were some unkind words exchanged in the between. I will say mostly from you, mostly from your end.
Warranted.
Yeah, possibly, but possibly not. But certainly, somewhere along the line, he extended an olive branch towards you, and I don't feel that you quite reciprocated his good-natured efforts. But what I have asked you to do, for the sake of peace, is I asked you to go to your binman today and apologise. So how did that go?
Yep.
It went okay?
Yeah, it's done.
It's done? Okay. I mean, did he have anything to say to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so went well. Okay, well, I'm happy with that.
Good.
Well,
let's move on.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well, that's a good time to mention who we're covering this week's episode. So it is, of course, Julius Caesar.
Julius Caesar.
As the Italians would say, as the Romans would put it.
Hey, Julio, make the spaghetti pasta sauce.
Right, it'll be the Italians you're apologising to next, I think.
That's fine.
I can tell you obviously had a very sincere conversation with the binman earlier, because you're in a good spirits.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about with Julius Caesar? I mean, obviously he's given his name to some of the greatest things. Some of the greatest inventions, I would say, have been named after him. So maybe I'll just mention those before we get into his history.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, there's the Caesar salad.
Oh, mwah,
lovely.
I
mean, we love it. Lettuce, cheese, chicken sometimes. Is that not always?
If you're in a chicken mood.
If you're in a chicken mood. There's Caesar, the dog food. You know, it's got the little hexagonal packets. It's got a little white dog on it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I've never owned a dog, but I can imagine it in my head.
You've seen it.
A packet of dog food with Caesar written on it. Yeah.
I think you've got the gist of it, yeah. I think you've got the gist of it. There's Caesar Milan, the dog behaviourist, off the telly.
Oh, yes, yeah, of course, yeah.
That's a dog connection there as well.
Yeah.
So dog ferret behaviourist, and of course as well the cesarean section, my personal favourite.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's very, very useful.
Well, yeah, I mean, gets the baby out.
It gets the baby right out.
That's how they pitched it when they in the boardroom.
On Dragon's Den, when they were just like, usually people come in and they pitch stuff like reggae sauce, but this guy came in. I was like, I've got this invention here. It's called the cesarean, and they're like, oh, what's that then? It's just like a way of getting babies out of women when they're pregnant, preferably, and you know, if it can't go out the normal way, I call it the cesarean. And immediately they were just kind of like, well, I mean, how can we market this?
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. Necessary, a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, they saw the value in it, but they just, as investors, they didn't know how they could actually invest.
And interestingly as well, I think this says a lot about the business folk on Dragon's Den, but he needed to explain in quite a lot of graphic detail how a baby is usually delivered from the womb. And that made an interesting episode of Dragon's Den, didn't it, actually?
It did. I particularly liked the part where all of the dragons were playing different roles. They were kind of like acting it out, like as a sort of theatre. You had the female one,
Deborah
Meaden, thank you, as the mother, and then you had people acting as like the womb itself, and you had Duncan Bannatyne as the baby, and then he just kind of like slid through her legs right?
He sort of popped out,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then he just kind of like looks at the camera and goes, "My name's Duncan Benatime, and I'm out." And they had a...
I wasn't expecting there to be a punchline to that. No, none of our jokes usually have punchlines. I feel that was a rare quality on this show.
I set that one up.
You did. You worked for that. Oh.
And they had a good time, but like I said, like a slip and slide, the dragon's den. But they were just like, "Look, you've shown us a bloody good time. It's like a kind of a team building exercise almost."
Yeah, well, you could market it as that as well.
Yeah, well, he did. That's what he did now. So he's got the Caesarean team building exercises going up and down the country. Very popular.
Absolutely. A cracking episode and a cracking surgical procedure.
Absolutely. Memorable television for sure.
So that was a little roundup of my 4 favourite things named after Julius Caesar. Have you anything you want to add to that list, or?
Yeah, I'd say Cesar Romero, who played the Joker in the original Batman TV series.
Okay, he was a bit of a nutty character, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. He was an interesting chap. Actor decided to keep his moustache, painted over it white. He didn't care.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, he still had a moustache. He just painted over it with the white face paint.
That's so strange.
And so Joker.
Well, yeah. I mean, what will that guy do next? Who knows?
And I can't think of any other Caesars that I care for.
Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, perhaps.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is that real, or is that just on the Simpsons episode?
My understanding is that they moved it from Rome.
You think that was the real palace?
Why else would they call it Caesar's Palace?
Yeah, that's a good question. Some sort of copyright infringement otherwise, wouldn't it?
Ooh, yeah.
You know, you couldn't just build a house on the Las Vegas Strip and call it the Queen's House.
No,
Because that would be false advertising. It's not the Queen's house because the Queen doesn't live there.
Yeah, oh, and she'd hate it. She'd hate that.
Oh, she likes a bit of peace and quiet. She's in her 80s.
Yeah.
Or 90s. I don't know. We should know. We did an episode about her.
Yeah, 90s, I think.
Yeah, she needs a bit of peace and quiet. And the corgis, they'd be running out in the road. Oh.
Well, they don't let any light in those casinos in Las Vegas.
True,
so
yeah.
those corgis would just be dazed and confused,
Yeah.
getting tinnitus from all the fucking coin machines going... Be a horrible place to raise dogs.
It'd be a horrible place to raise a queen.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Well, I'm glad that she doesn't. I'm glad she gets a bit of peace and quiet in Balmoral.
Balamori.
Do you remember Balmoral? It was revealed in Cherie Blair's autobiography, was where her and Tony Blair conceived one of their children.
I've not heard
So
that.
anytime I think of Balmoral, I think of Tony Blair having sex. Isn't that horrible?
It's lovely, that.
Former Prime Minister and warmonger Tony Blair getting his end away
At Balmoral.
at Balmoral. Lovely scenic place, though, to do it.
But what a lot of people don't realise as well, which makes it a lot more interesting, is that it was the Queen's room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't their own
Christ.
room that they were staying in.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they waited till she was gone, of course.
Gone
but
or asleep?
gone asleep. Philip was in the corner in his rocking chair. He was just kind of like, he was reading the Sunday paper, and he just like nodded off.
Yeah,
And,
they
like,
saw their opportunity.
Yeah, Tony just looked at like Cherie and just like, you thinking what I'm thinking? I was like, they're out for the count. Look at them, those old sods. They could go out for hours and they wouldn't even notice.
She's had 10 Werther's originals. She's in a diabetic coma.
Yeah, exactly. She was on the bed next to them, right, sound asleep, and they were going at it. Doing every position under the sun, right? And then they were just like, right, well that's a story. That's pretty good. And then they just like went off. They were none the wiser.
No, well,
When they woke up, they were just like, oh, smells funny in here. I think I'll open the window.
What a horrifying scenario. There's no reason that she had to mention it in her autobiography at all.
No, it was pride at that point, wasn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like, nah.
She went, well, yeah, Tony wasn't Prime Minister anymore, so he couldn't be sacked. for
No,
that.
exactly, yeah.
I mean, because, you know, it is the Queen that appoints the Prime Minister here in Britain, so and I think that probably is a sackable offence. I know it is where in all the jobs I've worked.
Yeah, having sex next to a sleeping queen. Yeah. But, going back to the man himself, he was born, now don't laugh, his first name was Gaius.
Was it really?
Gaius Julius Caesar.
What a charming name.
Yes. And he had two sisters, both called Julia.
Julia Major and Julia Minor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Which I feel one of them has got a raw deal. Well, I don't know, actually, both of them. Because Minor, that's not very nice. Like, if you're the little sister and you're Julia Minor. But if you're Julia Major, that makes you sound like, you know, what if she was a bit on the larger side? She's not going to feel good about that.
No.
Julia Major.
She'll get a complex at a very early age.
Yeah. I used to work in a pub, and there were two girls who worked there called Sarah, and one was on the shorter side, and the other one was about 6 foot. So they were called Sarah and Big Sarah. And I always thought, Big Sarah? She probably doesn't like that very much, does she? Being called Big Sarah.
I like that they forewent the you're Sarah B and you're Sarah J or something like that.
No, just Sarah and Big Sarah.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, he was born, Gaius Julius Caesar, around the 12th or the 13th, not quite sure, of July, 100 BC.
A long time ago.
Which I think is a Mailbox Rogues Gallery first for someone being born before Christ.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. This is an old boy.
And do you think with the years back then, I mean, like when it was 100 BC, they must have been wondering, like, what are we counting down to?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would be like a viral marketing campaign or something, wouldn't it? Every year it gets a bit more tantalising.
Like, what the fuck happens at 0?
Yeah, you get to 1 BC, you're going to be so glad you're sticking around for 0 BC.
Yeah, well, anyone born, like, around the same time as Caesar, they must have just been like, I'm never going to live to see what happens.
No,
and I bet it's going to be something great, like a big party or something, and I'm not going to be there for it.
That is sad, yeah. I mean, you know, you're born at 100 BC, you're not, in those days, going to live to 100, are you?
No. But, you know, he made the most of his time.
That's true, yeah. He wasn't that disappointed, was he?
No, not really.
He still pulled himself up, didn't he?
But he came from quite a big, prominent family anyway.
Like the family from the Steve Martin family comedy, Cheaper by the Dozen.
Not quite in the same way. Where they're quite rich in love and, I guess, body count, they made up for in kind of, I guess, status. Maybe more
I
so.
see, yeah, rather than numbers.
Yeah, that's right.
Body count was a weird way to phrase that. I don't know why you used the phrase body count. It's a bit morbid, really, but we should sail past that.
Yeah, but when you got that many kids, it's just like, yeah, it's just a bunch. You just say there's a gabble of them.
A gabble of them.
And even Steve Martin, he didn't seem to know. Just like, yeah, that one there, the one with the freckles. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. He goes, what body count are we at now? As his wife pops another one out, or has a C-section.
Yeah, goes. Oh, 12. I was going to say 14, but then Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yeah,
that makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. I just think it was a very morbid phrasing. Nothing on your mind?
What do you mean?
No, just wondering. Like I say, you were a bit red-faced when you got here after your meeting with the binman.
No, I'm perfectly happy. I don't have any secrets or things I'm keeping from you.
Good. Okay, no secrets. That's what we agreed when we started this podcast. No secrets.
No secrets.
We made 2 agreements. When we made our blood oath, no secrets, and we both go down for any crime that any one of us commits.
Yeah, that's the blood oath.
That's the blood oath. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll carry on then anyway.
Moving swiftly on.
Oh, I noticed with Caesar, his father died when he was 16, and he became basically patriarch of the family.
Yeah.
He was looking after his mum and his sisters, and then by 17 he was married. Bloody hell, that is rocketing through life, aren't you?
Wasn't hanging about, no.
No, he wasn't slowing down for nobody.
But it was an interesting family all round. Like, they believed that they were descended from the gods, specifically Lullus, who is the son of, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Aeneas, Prince of Troy, whose mother was Venus. A bit of an egotistical family, I will say.
Do you think there's any truth in it, though?
What, they're related to Venus?
Yeah, some sort of godly lineage.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
But, I mean, even though they had this kind of divinity, apparently, in their family, that still didn't prevent tensions arising amongst the family members.
This is, again, reminding me of Cheaper by the Dozen. They didn't always get on.
No, that's true. But in the end, they all came together and found out the true meaning of family.
Okay, and this is presumably exactly what happened to Julius Caesar's family.
Yeah! Let's have a look. Well, basically, when Caesar's father died, this kind of started a civil war, basically, between his uncle, Gaius Marius, that was his name, Gaius Marius.
That's a great name.
And his rival, Lucius Cornelius Sulla.
Well, that's boring. It doesn't even have the word gay in it.
It does not.
How are we supposed to know that he's a happy individual?
Yeah, he wasn't feeling particularly gay. I guess because of this civil war between the pair of them.
No, I suppose.
But so, with this feud, it was basically for political power and ascending kind of higher in the political stratosphere. Sulla ended up winning, at which point Caesar was stripped of his inheritance, his wife's dowry. He was asked to divorce his wife, and he's barely old enough to drink at this point. And he's going through all this. He's just like...
Divorced by age 20.
Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of like, I'm not even into my 20s yet, and already I'm potentially filing for divorce, sorting out at my father's funeral, all this sort of stuff, and he doesn't know where he's coming or going.
No, it's a hard life. It's a hard life. He probably had to stop doing his paper route just to spend some more time clearing up this mess.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's just said, look, Mr. Frost, I'm sorry, I can't help you and your wife Doris anymore with the Sunday paper. And he's like, oh, but Julius, who's going to be delivering the Sunday Times? I can't do it with the arthritis in my fingers. And you know, Doris, she isn't good on her feet anymore.
And Julius said...
He's just like, mate, I've got my own problems to sort out.
Look, you've been kind to me. You've been like a father to me in these 2 weeks since my actual father died.
That's right.
But still, I've got to go, you know. Funeral, divorce.
Yeah, I've got a fucking
exile.
Potential divorce. Yeah, an exile. Like, I can't deliver your fucking papers, Mr. Frost, when I'm exiled. Fair point. I'll just maybe put in a word for some of your friends, perhaps. They might fancy a paper route. So, I don't think so, Mr. Frost.
I think print media is dying, and so are you.
He saw it even back then.
Yeah.
Just like, eventually, a couple thousand years, this will be a dead medium. You want to start getting rid of these now.
He said, listen, mate, you're the old guard. Your days are numbered. You fossil.
And he was particularly hurt by that, Mr. Frost.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, all his life he'd been running a newsagent.
Yeah, he just threw himself down the stairs at that point.
Wow. What a way to go. and poor Doris, she's not so good on her feet. So
No, exactly, yeah, famously. And
she must have been devastated.
Oh, she was, yeah. It's very, very sad, very sad. And not a point in Caesar's life that gets talked about very much. His relationship with Mr. Frost, the corner shop owner.
You have to wonder why it doesn't come up in the history books more.
No, beats me.
Well, what he did end up doing, I think, is he joined the army, didn't he, to escape his political enemies?
Yes.
Particularly that uncle or step-uncle or whoever it was that you said it was.
Some sod.
Yeah, some bastard who was after him. So he rose through the ranks and became quite a power in the army. By the time he returned to Rome, he was a very, very powerful man. He did have one kind of madcap incident in his 20s in 75 BC. So what, it would have been 25. He was on his way to Rhodes. Not Gary Rhodes.
Not Dusty Rhodes either.
No, but he was kidnapped by pirates.
Oh, now, yeah, this is fucking cool. Without a doubt, the cool... And, like, how I hadn't heard of this before doing the research, I don't know. Because
you love pirates.
I love pirates, famously. And the stunt that he plays is a fucking boss move, if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, so they put him up for ransom... And he said, no, mate, that is not a high enough ransom for me.
Yeah, he's like, 20 talents of silver? You're joking, aren't you? I'm at least worth 50. And they were like, all right, big bollocks, we'll put it up to 50. Yeah. That's fine.
And what else did he do? He promised that he'd crucify them.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, seemingly no way out of this. They've got a bounty on his head. These are pirates, remember, who are famously bloodthirsty. And he's just like, yeah, when I get out of here, I'm going to crucify the lot of you.
And true to his word, the ransom was paid at the higher amount.
The higher amount.
And he hunted them down. And then what did he do? Crucify them.
Yeah, and you must think, like... I love that, because they, like, paid the ransom, he buggered off, and then he set sail with a fucking fleet or whatever to specifically find them again. And they were like, mate, we thought you were joking. It's like, no, I was... fucking serious.
Deadly serious,
You're going to get crucified. And they were like, Oh, come on, we were only playing around.
It's the business we're in.
Yeah, it's like it's.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
No, exactly. You know, times are hard. You know this yourself, and we've got to make a living.
And he's like, you know, I sympathise with you. I really do. I don't want to have to do this, but I'm a man of my word.
Although what he did, and this does make me laugh. Yeah, what he did as a sign of leniency, this is. He had their throats cut first before crucifying them.
And you preface that by saying, this is the bit that makes me laugh.
Well, I mean, like, is that lenient? Could you call that lenient, slicing throats?
It's a quicker death than a crucifixion.
I mean,
we'll give him that.
It's nicer, but I mean, like, lenient.
Lenient isn't the word, is it?
No, it's
lenient
not. It's not a particularly right word. It's just like, here's a few tickets to Caesar's Palace. That would be lenient. That would be very lenient.
Very lenient.
Cheers, Caesar.
Was it a casino back then as well? That's what I've never been sure about.
Yeah, I reckon so. Maybe it kind of like he lived there. He lived like in the loft. He had like a loft apartment.
Oh yeah, it looks nice studio suite.
Yeah, exactly. And
penthouse, that's the word I'm looking for.
That's right. And there was a casino on the floor below. I mean, that would be lenient, letting them kind of play a few hands of poker.
Nothing would drive me nuts more than living above a casino. That would be awful. God, those machines going off all night. Someone gets a payout, everybody cheers. Oh, and then Tom Jones singing every night beneath your floorboards.
Well, that would be all right. That part is like sings you to sleep.
I suppose it depends if you can make requests.
You're there trying to get any requests, anyone? Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to sleep. Well, you should have known not to buy a loft apartment above a casino.
Listen, the estate agent never mentioned it.
Yeah, he brought me here on a quiet day when nobody was about. How was I?
He said it was always like this.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tom Jones was singing him lullabies every night, that could be quite nice. Setting him off to sleep.
Yeah.
The pirate story, forgetting Caesar and his palace.
Yeah.
The pirate story, it actually reminded me a lot of the time that me and you were kidnapped by pirates.
Oh, yeah.
And you had quite a similar kind of banterous interplay with the Somalian pirates that we met as well, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
We were banana boating around the Horn of Somalia.
Yeah, something we've talked about doing for years.
And isn't it sod's law? We finally get around to doing it, and what happens? Kidnapped by pirates.
Kidnapped by pirates. And yeah, they took us, and they were saying that they were going to get a ransom for us, and they were like, oh, 10 quid. It's like, 10 quid? 10 fucking quid?
Yeah, I think you did the same thing as Caesar, though, didn't you? You said, come on, worth at least 25.
Well, I was hurt. 10 quid. I mean, I know they might not...
Because it was 10 quid for you, it was 15 for me, which is, I think, why you got so upset.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even know us. I don't know why they instantly surmised that you were worth a five or more. I mean, I know, like, the exchange rate and the difference in currency, and maybe they're not particularly au fait with the value of British currency to their own.
I think if they're asking for £10 and £15 for two people, they're probably
not.
Probably not.
Yeah, but I mean, still, I was hurt. I was like, look, can you at least give me 16 and him 15?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I feel like you were getting a little bit petty. It was more about being worth more than me monetarily.
Well, I mean, at this point, I was like, okay, like, put me up to 16, and they were like, okay, we put you up to 16, and then they put you up to 27. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And this is getting out of hand here.
I think...
And I was bidding them. I was just like sat there with one of the boat paddles, and I was going like 30, putting the paddle up.
Yeah.
And then they were pointing at you as like 52, and I was just like 49 with the paddle, and then they were pointing at you as like 78. It's ridiculous. What kind of operation are they running here?
I know, it was mad. And I think perhaps the reason that they thought they'd get more of a ransom for me is purely just because I was wearing normal swimming costume on the boat. What do you call it? Swimming shorts.
Yeah.
And that was the day that your baggage got stolen from the hotel. So you were just wearing a sackcloth and a belt made of seaweed to keep it up. I mean, that's the only reason I can think that they might have felt that you had less monetary worth than me in terms of a ransom.
Maybe, but we were there together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was quite a coincidence, actually, wasn't it, that you managed to find the exact same outfit as the one that got nicked?
Exactly, yeah.
The sackcloth and the seaweed.
Yeah, I like, as soon as I lost the bag, I was like, that's it, this holiday's ruined. And then I found a sack, I was like, this is identical to my own.
It even got the leg holes in the right place.
Exactly, yeah. And it was like a proper spud bag as well, like the one I was having. And then I was just like, maybe my luck's in. And then we got captured.
Yeah.
Those were a tough 50 days on the high seas.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? We kept our spirits up, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent most of my time bartering my value up.
We were worth a couple of million each by the time we got out. They just got sick of you eventually. That's how we got out.
Well, yeah, I was worth a couple million. They only like 2.1. I was like, that's it. I've had enough of this. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I think they, like you say, they got a bit more sick of us than we did of them, and they were just, just fuck off. So, all right, cheers.
Yeah. Oh. Never got the banana boat back, though.
No, the cheeky sods. No, it's when they let us on shore, and then we're like, hang on a sec, where's our banana boat? And then we look in the distance, and there's these Somalian pirates enjoying themselves on the banana boat, going, wee!
Having a whale of a time, waving your confiscated sackcloth at you.
Yeah, and then I looked down, noticed I was completely naked. I felt right the fool.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised you didn't notice sooner. I mean, they snuck that off you after about 4 days, and you spent the remaining 46 completely stark bollock naked.
What a sad sight that must have been. Me just stood there, cold and naked,
We had the
captured by
seaweed.
pirates, trying to up my value.
I suppose when you surmise it like that, yeah, it doesn't sound great.
No.
Still, though, holiday of a lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Just to get away from it all, you know.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah.
Getting captured by pirates. Just to get away from it all.
We had so much to report back to Scylla when we got back to the Blind Date studio.
Oh, yeah. They were just like, so how'd you enjoy the holiday, Chucks? Which was like, oh, it was really great. We got captured by pirates.
Well, they showed that little compilation of us.
Yeah, they didn't censor my privates, though, did they?
No, they didn't. They said they would. The producers said they would, but they didn't.
I was very surprised. This was at about 6:30 in the evening as well.
Yeah,
Kids sat there eating their tea. Must have been appalled.
You got so many complaints. I don't know why they got delivered to you personally rather than the producers of the show.
Well, no, that's the thing. At the end of the show, they were like, please send any complaints to, and then they put my address there. I was like, do you think I have any control over this at all?
No. Well, if anybody finds this portion of the show offensive, you can send your comments to mailboxroguesgallery@gmail.com.
Or on Twitter, @mailboxrogues. But please don't complain.
It was good, really, though, that they recovered enough footage to show on the programme at all, bearing in mind the videographer who was following us around was the person who didn't make it back, unfortunately.
Yeah, they let him keep his camera. The pirates saw that he had a job to do, and they didn't want to disturb that.
Yeah, but I think by the end of it, he decided to stay with them. He gave us the camera as a parting gift with all the footage, but he was going to go where the banana boat was going to go.
Yeah, I
They
think...
kept that, they kept him.
And I noticed this even before we left, that the man was a born pirate.
He had that look about him, didn't he?
Yeah, the eye patch, I think, is
The
what
eye
really...
patch, yeah, the parrot. The parrot was a bit of a giveaway.
The scurvy as well, I noticed. It's like, we've not even left England yet, and you've got scurvy.
You've got scurvy, yeah. I kept trying to chuck limes in his mouth while he was asleep. I thought if you could swallow... Usually you'd have a little bit of lime, and that helps your scurvy.
Yeah.
Or helps prevent it. If you're right in the midst of it, though, I think swallow a whole one, that might do it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, make him a little lime cocktail or something, just kind of intravenous into his veins or something.
Yeah, a bit of cordial.
Oh, yeah, a little bit cordial. So I guess one of the things you could say about Caesar is that eventually he became kind of a big deal in Rome.
A big deal indeed.
Yeah, I mean, he helped turn Rome from a republic to an empire. And the empire spanned a large part of the globe.
Just like Star Wars.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, well, age 40, he became a council, which was basically like a joint leader of Rome. He got too powerful, though. Made a lot of enemies.
Too big for his own boots.
Yeah. Which, again, it just reminds me, really, of your issues with your binman. Once again, similarly, likewise, you became very powerful and made an enemy of him.
What? I'm Caesar in this analogy.
Yeah, it's a compliment. You know, Caesar. What a great comparison to be made against.
Yeah, I think the point that you're making, though, is that I became too big for my boots, is what we were just saying about the man.
Well, not exactly. I used the word powerful. I mean, but my point that I was going to get to was that, yes, enemies were made, but unlike Caesar, you have managed to reconcile things with the binman, haven't you?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, you fixed everything with him.
Yeah.
So it's very different. That's what I was going to say. I was going to say he chose the path of darkness. You chose the path of light.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on. So yeah, he was a consul at one point, and he also was appointed Dictator.
That's a great job to be given.
Oh, what a title! Though I guess because of a few bad eggs that have taken that title since, like Hitler.
Yeah, Stalin.
It has the name, the title Dictator has a bad rep, but back then it was just like being called president or something like that. The first time he was made Dictator, he resigned within 11 days.
Really?
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of me. I've resigned from a lot of jobs within 11,
yeah.
11 days. I tend to find by the 10th day I'm getting a bit sick of it. And then on the 11th day, I'd say out of about 4 or 5 of my jobs, I just on the 11th day, I'm sick of this.
You just get a vibe when you go to a job and just think, this isn't for me really. And you just kind of start looking online or in the newspaper.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, the last job, 10 days of ferrying children across busy roads during rush hour traffic. I just left my tabard by the side of the road, popped down this lollipop stick, and I went, I'm out of here. Just let them sort themselves out.
Oh right, you mean you waited for the next person to come along to take over from you, and then you just...
No, I mean I left the tabard on the road. I left the lollipop stick leaning against a Ford Fiesta, and I just left.
What? So you were... What time was this?
Well, I mean, it was during rush hour. What sort of time is rush hour? Between about 5 and 6? It was when all the kids got out of after school club. You know that kind of peak time of day when all the kids get let out of after school club and all the commuters are trying to angrily, impatiently get home to their food.
Yeah, the period that a lollipop man's needed most.
Exactly, yeah. They call it the...
lollipop hours.
They call it the lollipop hour, yeah. I would say slap bang in the middle of that.
Blimey. I mean, well, have you kind of seen whether there were any accidents or anything like on your leaving? Because... Lollipop Man, as far as I'm concerned, that's up there with surgeon, teacher. It ranks high. Saving lives.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd say it's probably more important than some other jobs in that respect that you mentioned. As for, well, you asking whether there are any negative aspects of the way I left that job?
Yeah, just seeing if anything happened on your leaving.
No, because the next job that I did for 11 days was a submariner. And there wasn't much news that reached me during that period. I left, I didn't just leave the job without having something else lined up.
All right, okay, so you just went
straight to the bottom of the ocean.
From lollipopping to going submerged in a submergible.
Yeah.
Okay, and how did that job go?
Again, first 10 days, absolutely fine. No real issues. The 11th day, again, I think I just started to get bored. So I said to the captain, right, I'm sorry, I'm out of here. He said, not really an option. We're here for the next 6 weeks, patrolling against Russian submarines. I said, oh, fuck this. I just went to the engine room, turned off all the engines, and what do you do to get a submarine up? You let all the air out or something like that. I pressed the button that just said up, basically.
Right.
We sort of shot to the surface about 100 miles per hour. We're quite low down at this point. Everybody got the bends. There was talk of prosecution, but I mean, I didn't stick around for that. I was in my job as a hot air balloon salesman.
All right. They knew to pick you up in that particular spot, did they? You just kind of you're like Phileas Fogg. You just open the submarine hatch and there's the hot air balloon there. You're like, see ya. Yeah,
well, they picked me up. I mean, it wasn't a general part of my day-to-day job as a hot air balloon salesman, but they needed to show me how one worked as part of the sales patter. So yeah, I kind of text them ahead of the time, like, I'll be popping up here.
No, I mean, I'm sure your employers there, they must have been annoyed as anything, but at the same time...
Those that survived, yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, the captain must have just been looking at you and shaking his head thinking, what will he do next?
Yeah, I mean, that captain, me and him had a bit of history. I mean, his son was actually the first to get knocked down when I left my post at by the roadside. But he's fine, absolutely fine. No, the kid was fine. When I say knocked down, he was kind of it was quite comical, really. He kind of got bumped. He slipped onto a nearby skateboard, went down a hill, hit a kind of dirt ramp that was there, did a loop-the-loop, landed in a tree, popped his head up, his little bird nest on his head.
Oh, yeah.
Little birds are cheeping away. Mummy bird comes back, flies down, sits on the branch, and puts a worm in the kid's mouth. Comical stuff.
Yeah, I guess. You say he gets bumped, but by a car, yeah? You saying?
Well, just a little tap.
Little tap. I mean, for him to do all these somersaults and land in a tree, I mean, there must have been a bit more than a tap.
No, I told you he was bumped onto a skateboard. It was nearby.
Okay.
Some irresponsible person who was meant to be guarding the road was about to skate off on it. Actually,
Oh.
It was my skateboard. I was about to skate home.
Oh, right, okay. I've had enough of this. I'm leaving my post.
Yeah,
Just...
He's lucky I didn't bring my pogo stick to work that day.
Oh, that would have been a right caper. And so the submarine captain, he knew about this when he took you on for the job, did he?
He didn't, but he found out pretty quick.
Oh, they do these submarine captains.
Yeah. It's just my face in the local paper. But you get the local paper a little bit late when you're on a submarine.
Yeah, and it's a lot damper as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, like you, Caesar left his job as dictator after 11 days. And then in 48 BC, he was appointed dictator again.
It's fate, isn't it? He was fated to be dictator.
He was made dictator for an indefinite period. And then in 46 BC, he was appointed dictator for 10 years. And then...
Well, that's a definite period. That's a step down, really, isn't it? From an indefinite period, if you're a dictator.
That's a good point, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he did something to annoy a few people. It's just like, no more indefinicy with your career.
We're only going to stick with you for 10 more years.
10 years, I can't do anything in that time. But, obviously he did something right. Because in February of 44 BC, right, he was appointed dictator for life.
And presumably that took him to much longer than 10 years.
No, actually, he was given this job 1 month before he died.
He died? Well, I mean, I don't know why I sound shocked. I mean, this is over 2,000 years ago. Of course he died.
Spoilers, people.
Yeah.
Caesar is dead.
But, I mean, it's still sad to hear it. Great man like that. Did he die peacefully? He went away in his sleep, did he? Dreaming of whatever people dream about?
I would like to say that was the case, but...
Oh, I've got a horrible feeling you're going to tell me otherwise now.
Otherwise, yeah, you see, he made a few enemies during his dictatorship, and unfortunately, he was assassinated by about 60 different people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, they were all like members of the Senate, so people that he knew and worked with.
Wow.
Might have even had, dinner with some evenings, or a drink down the pub.
Shocking.
And there they are, killing him.
Murdering him, yeah. Well, it's difficult sometimes, office politics. Getting on with everybody is a juggling act.
Oh, yeah, and with a title like Dictator, I mean, you're not going to be liked by everybody, are you?
Absolutely not. Wow. I'm sorry to hear that he died.
But yeah, 60 people that he knew, and it was a nasty way that he went. It was
Yeah.
quite a coincidence, actually. He was stabbed 23 times.
Well, that's horrible, but what do you mean, quite a coincidence?
Well, because I don't know.
No, go on. You had something you were about to say then. You just stopped yourself.
I don't know what I'm saying. We've probably been recording quite a while is probably what it is.
No, it's the usual amount of time. We're at the end of our usual 8 hours recording session. What? I mean, is there anything on your mind?
No.
It really looked like you, like when you said what coincidence, there was definitely something behind that. Now, bearing in mind our blood oath, part 1 of that was no secrets.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I feel like you're holding back.
No.
And I feel like you are, and I've got a horrible feeling it's to do with your meeting with the binman, because you've been cagey ever since you got back from that.
What could I be cagey about? I saw him this morning before we started recording, and that's that,
Okay, well, you were only meant to be there for about a half hour or so. You were there for 6 hours, for one thing. The only reason I didn't pull you up on that is because we went straight into recording the episode. So what were you doing there all that time? Has it got anything to do with somebody being stabbed 23 times?
I went to his house, okay? Now, I bought a lovely bunch of flowers for him.
Very nice.
I mean, I say I bought flowers. I kind of found some tied against like a lamppost. But, I thought they could probably do with a bit of water, but, he won't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah, this lamppost wasn't anywhere near where his father was tragically murdered by you, was it?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, that's a funny coincidence.
Yeah. I get the horrible feeling he put those flowers there.
Oh.
Was there a look of recognition in his face when he saw them?
Well, I mean, what is about to happen now probably makes a lot more sense now. So I had these flowers from that lamppost, and I was there. I knocked on his door, and he seemed a bit cagey. I had the flowers behind my back, and I was like, look, I know you can be a pain in the arse sometimes, okay? But let's just put it behind us, you know.
Sorry, hang on. I specifically told you to ring ahead as well. Please tell me he knew you were coming.
If I told him I'm coming to your house now, bearing in mind I've set fire to his previous house, there's no way that he would let me anywhere near him.
Okay, I'm just getting this in my head now. I'm getting it straight. So you turn up at his house, he doesn't know you're coming, and you very conspicuously holding something behind your back.
Yeah, well, like I say, the flowers are hidden behind my back. I knock on the door, I say, look, I know you've been a bit of a pain in the ass, but let's put it behind us, okay? It's like, you keep on cleaning my filth, and we'll just go back to the way things should be with your kind. And then
No, you didn't. You didn't say that.
What?
That's monstrously classist, and it doesn't sound anything like an apology.
Yeah, but this is the bit where I kind of pull the flowers out.
Okay.
That's the apology. And he kind of...
Actions speak louder than words, yes, go on.
He looked at them, and I guess maybe they might have been ones that he put out, because he said, where did you get these from?
Yeah.
And I don't want him to think I'm tight.
It's embarrassing, yeah.
No, so I got them from like a Tesco forecourt. And he was like, where did you get these? I was like, I just told you, you idiot. And then one thing led to another, and we somehow ended up... I can't remember the steps exactly, but we somehow ended up fighting in his kitchen.
Oh God, I knew this would happen.
And I'm only saying this because of the blood oath and because we're friends. I did stab him 23 times with a butcher knife.
23 times, God, and 22 wasn't enough.
No, well, I think it's because I'd been researching about Julius Caesar before going over there, and I had 23 stabs on my mind. I mean, so really...
It'd been seeded.
You could almost say that I didn't really do that because I'd been researching so much that it almost wasn't me that did that. Please tell me it wasn't me that did that.
I'm not going to tell you that. Although, if we get a good lawyer, he might be able to argue that case. So, where is he now? Oh, God, I just left him there. Right.
He's still in his kitchen.
What a muddle you've gotten us into.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to say. I'm obviously upset with you. It's not what I sent you over there to do.
Well, it's not what I went over there to do, but it happened.
Yeah. No, it did happen. It definitely happened. I really should have asked about the bloodstains all over you before now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's on you.
I mean, it is literally on me. We shook hands when you arrived.
Yeah, sorry about that. I should have bathed. I'll admit that.
Yeah. What were you doing in his kitchen for 6 hours? Is it one of those households where they have the TV on in the corner of the kitchen?
Yeah, well, I mean, This Morning was on, and you know I like that show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to watch it till it got to the afternoon on the programme, because, you know, I like doing that with This Morning.
Yes, of course. It's part of your daily routine.
That's right. And, you know...
Start the day with a nice 6-hour television sitting.
But I was kind of sat there half watching This Morning and just kind of thinking, right, the blood's going to keep spilling on the kitchen floor, you know, on this. I mean, luckily it was laminate. If it was carpet, then never get those stains out.
I don't think that's an issue now. Forget about that.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I was just kind of like scooping the blood from like the holes, and I couldn't think of anywhere to put it, so I was just kind of like putting it into my clothes.
You're using yourself as a dishcloth, basically.
Yeah, I was using myself as a dishcloth, just like kind of soaking up the blood, because I didn't want to make a mess of the place. Yeah,
well, you've always been quite considerate when it comes to making a mess.
Oh yeah, hygiene is a big concern.
Yeah, and not just hygiene, but tidiness as well.
Yes.
I think in terms of forensic science, though, you may have let yourself down a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, I did get a few funny looks when I was walking on my way here.
Oh, you left your car parked at his house, did you? Because when I sent you off this morning, you were in your car.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, after that, I kind of thought...
Clear your head, go for a walk.
Exactly, yeah. I'll walk to Sean's, and then I'll come back. I'll pop round afterwards, get my car, and then just kind of like go home and figure out what I'm going to do.
Plus, your hands are probably a bit too slippery for the steering wheel.
Exactly, yeah, still dry. I mean, it's dried a bit now, but yeah, maybe I should kind of like pop over there and kind of hide the body or something like that.
I think that's the least of all you could do for him at this point.
Yeah. Right, I'll head over there now before it gets too dark. What's that noise?
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
That sounds like, what does that sound like to you? That sounds like sirens to me.
Yeah. Sirens. It's getting louder. Hang on a sec, let me just go over to the window. Bloody hell, there's like 4 police cars out there.
What's going on? Is some neighbourhood disturbance or something?
I don't, it could be anything with this street, honestly. The amount of like ruffians that live around here.
I told you you shouldn't have moved to Benefit Street.
That's weird. They're walking up to this house.
Maybe they just want to check everything's okay.
You don't think they're here because of the binman?
Well, I mean, if you did what you went over there to do, which I now know is murder him, then how could they have known? You were walking around the town covered in blood, though.
I guess, but I mean, like, you get people wearing all sorts this day and age.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. It's a statement.
Yeah. Oh god, they're knocking at the door. Should I answer it?
Best answer, yeah.
Okay.
Hang on, let me pause the tape.
Hello?
James Burch,
Yes?
you're nicked.
Another fine mess you've gotten me into.
But me?
Yes, you!
Oh yeah, fair point actually, yeah, it was me. Oh, what? I didn't know he was still alive.
I don't know if that matters at this stage.
No, I guess not.
I think either way, we'd probably both still be here.
I can't believe not only did he survive, but he's now testifying
As we speak.
against us.
Oh, blimey. I think what I will say about him is he's a fair man. I think if you had maybe called an ambulance for him instead of sitting there watching 6 hours of daytime television, he might not be so angry.
I can't believe, after everything, you're still standing up for him.
It's been difficult mediating between you two, I'll be honest.
I rue the day I ever met that man.
Well, I rue the day I made that blood oath with you because, as we mentioned earlier, part 2 of that is we have agreed to both go down for any crime that any one of us commits.
I will say, Sean, you're true to your word.
Wow.
And by the looks of it, we're both going down for quite a long time.
Yeah, don't I know it. I mean, I will say it is a character flaw of mine that I do insist on making blood oaths with everybody that I meet for the first time at parties.
Yeah, I mean, you should really cut down on the blood oaths. I'm amazed it's taken you this long to go down for attempted murder with the amount of oaths you made.
Yeah, that's true. I'll take your advice in that I don't think I'll get the chance to make many more blood oaths with a lot more people.
Probably not. We try that in prison, we'll probably get shanked or something.
It's a good thing that we managed to sneak in this dictaphone.
Yes, it is, because from what I understand, no podcasts allowed in prison.
No, I think we might have to make a bit of a break there with the podcasting.
Yeah,
At least until one of us gets out, sneaks a file in a cake, gets the other one out.
yeah, or just a cake. Everyone likes cake.
Everyone loves cake. Well, that's the bare minimum, is to get the cake in.
Yeah.
But then what you really want is the file in the cake to get through the bars.
If we could only have one of the two, then it would have to be the cake.
The cake, yeah, of course.
But I mean, that's just like so typical of Theresa May's government, just like no podcasts in prisons. I mean, how tyrannical.
I know, it's a monstrous.
I mean, you're allowed to listen to them in there, but not to record them. I mean, like, what are we going to do in our spare time?
There's something about having hundreds of pounds worth of recording equipment in a prison that they have a problem with.
What? I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, it's a good thing my dentist is coming to visit me later. He can probably sneak this dictaphone out in his cavity, if you get my drift.
Oh, right. Not like a tooth cavity.
No, although I think I might make that joke when I see him. Yeah. I'm very close to my dentist,
I was
as
going
you
to
know.
say, yeah, like we're not even officially gone down yet, and he's coming to see how you're doing.
Yeah, no, me and Dr. Gupta, we've been very close friends a long time.
Well, we'll give him the dictaphone. Maybe he'll be able to edit the last episode as well for us, because God knows we're not going to be able to do it in prison.
No, that's a good point. Again, another thing you're not allowed in prison, editing software.
So, I guess that's it.
I guess we better wrap things up.
Yeah, wrap things up. Thank you very much, one and all, for listening to us on this truly crazy whirlwind adventure of a podcast. when we started this, if you had told me that we would be getting in trouble with the Disney Corporation, I became Santa Claus, talking to all of these amazing people, and finally ending up in prison, I would have laughed in your face.
I remember it happening exactly like that. We went to see Psychic Sally live, and she predicted exactly that would happen to us, and that's what you did. You laughed in her face.
I did, yeah. I just like, don't be so stupid, Psychic Sally. But I guess I'm the stupid one now.
I guess you are. Maybe that can be like your prison personality. You just keep your head down and be the stupid one. I'll be the tough guy. You can be my sidekick.
Can I be the tough one, please? They last longer.
Sorry, mate. The die has been cast.
Damn it! I should have been in there quicker.
Yeah. Well, we should probably let people know where they can find previous episodes of the podcast.
Yes. If you do want to listen back on previous episodes of the podcast, then you can listen to us on Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube.
We mentioned earlier in the episode how you can get hold of us. It's mailboxroguesgallery@gmail.com, and of course on Twitter @mailboxrogues, and on Facebook on Mailbox Rogues Gallery.
That's right. Let us know what you thought of the episode and previous episodes, and maybe send us some words of encouragement while we're in prison as well.
Yeah.
We'll get someone to kind of like mediate and just kind of tell us what
We
people
can still
are
get
saying.
emails when we're in prison.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be quite nice. Pen pal.
Yeah.
Lord knows we're going to get sick of each other quick.
Oh yeah.
Do you think we'll end up in the same cell?
Oh, I hope not.
No, I hope not too. I have to say, I do feel a small amount of resentment to you for getting me in this predicament.
2 words. Blood oath.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You never know. Maybe by the time we get out of this crazy situation, we'll be better friends than ever.
I can only hope so.
And with that kind word of encouragement, I'll sign off. My name's Sean.
And my name's Burch.
Goodbye.
Toodles. Da 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 da.